Right now at 5, how the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department intends to spend a $250,000 grant.
And we've got thunderstorms out there this morning. You can see the lightning from our camera in Pittsburgh. We'll have a look at those storms and what else we're expecting for today coming up.
Plus details on a deadly crash on the Will Rogers Turnpike.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's Tuesday, August the 19th, and we do have thunderstorms. That one computer model yesterday was right. So we're going to make a little deal here. We'll start believing that one more often, but we also have to understand that it could be wrong on occasion. But it was the only one that showed storms this morning, and that's what we've got. Let's start with a live look downtown Pittsburgh. We have our camera there pointed back southwest, and we've been getting quite a lightning show. In fact, these storms not severe at this time, but very electrical out there. We also have a traffic alert this morning. If you are traveling on Range Line, they're still working on the 15th Street intersection. However, this morning, you can see we've got some lane closures at that intersection. Northbound and southbound, the outside lanes are closed near 15th Street, so do be prepared for that if you are commuting this morning. Here's a look at those thunderstorms and very electrical storms with this activity. So we're going to start here in southeastern Kansas. We have some activity that's up here into parts of Coffee County, north of Burlington and west of Burlington as well. Again, not severe, but we'll do a quick check on that the lightning count for you. And 79 strikes with that particular storm and 57 with that particular storm. Then we'll head down to the south here into Oklahoma. So Washington and Water counties, these storms were listed as strong. That expired at 5 a.m., but they are still producing some small hail and, again, a fair amount of lightning out there as well. In fact, just a quick check on these, and look at that, 118 lightning strikes with that activity there. And again, if we look close enough down here, it might take a second to load. There it is. You can see we're starting to see that hail out there right behind Oshaleta where it says that. Now, granted, right now, the radar looking at a certain angle, so it may not be quite this large, but it's reading is just over an inch, which if that is the case, if Tulsa radar manages to pick up on some of that hail as well, that would then warrant a severe thunderstorm warning for the hail size out there. But we are still looking at gusty winds, and again, just a lot of lightning with this activity. Our lightning counter on our other screen is also including this activity because it can see it. 450 strikes between here, and this activity around Kansas City. So while none of it at this time is severe, it is producing a lot of lightning. You got to be careful. It's also right now not moving too much. It's trying to move to the south and southeast. Now you can see here where it's turning back southwest, which is what the future track showed yesterday. So we'll see what they do, and if any of them intensify and become severe, we'll let you know. We also, again, have our heat advisories. I'm not surprised by this at all, simply because we still have those high heat index values for at least today. These will run through 8 o'clock this evening, and then we have the risk for some strong to low-grade severe storms. It's a level 1 out of 5 risk across the entire area for gusty winds, with storms expected later today. So we'll have isolated storms out there. Right now, Future Track thinks what's out there will probably begin to fade away. We're going to leave in a low chance for isolated storms between here and noon. As we go into the afternoon, after about 3 o'clock or so, we'll start to see an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity, and that's when we'll start to see that window for additional strong to potentially severe storms. We're at 76 in Joplin, 74 in Pittsburgh, so another very warm start to the day. And around the region, take a look. Iola's sitting at 77 this morning. Jay a little cooler at 72, but we're all hovering right around the mid-70s as we get this day started. So kids getting on the bus need to be prepared for those isolated storms. Mid-70s getting on the bus, but low 90s around lunchtime, and maybe still a storm or two hanging on. And when that bus brings them home, we're going to start to see an increase in thunderstorm coverage again, but still hot, mid-90s by the time that bus drops them off. So again, keeping isolated storm chances here. We may not see very many, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that in. We'll be mid-80s by 9, low 90s by noon, mid-90s for our highs, and heat index values today, once again, up close to 105. We're going to talk more about our storm chances today and look at the timing because we could have a couple of rounds late this evening and overnight. And we'll talk about our temperatures and just how much they're going to drop here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a Galena man was arrested yesterday. He was booked for sex crimes against a child. Sheriff Brian Henderson of the Cherokee County says earlier this month, his office was made aware of a case involving inappropriate relations between an adult and a juvenile victim. Cherokee County launched an investigation and took their findings to the county attorney's office. The Galena man, 45-year-old Teddy Boggle, was arrested and taken into Cherokee County Jail. Boggle is being booked for aggravated criminal sodomy and aggravated indecent liberties with a minor. This investigation is ongoing, and anyone with further information on this case is encouraged to contact the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Well, a crash on the Will Rogers Turnpike near Miami claims the life of an Oklahoma Turnpike Authority worker and puts another in the hospital. The crash happened around 2 this afternoon on eastbound I-44 near Miami. 2 turnpike workers were on the shoulder near exit 313 when a semi veered off the road and hit them. The OTA says Zach Reinhardt, a heavy equipment operator and Veneta volunteer firefighter, was hit and killed. Authorities say Reinhardt was picking up trash along the highway. The semi then struck an OTA vehicle, which had the other OTA employee inside. Now, that employee was critically injured and transported to an area hospital for treatment. The other worker was in the truck and was taken to a Joplin hospital. Well, now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, dry conditions fuel fires across southwest Missouri, and now a handful of counties are under a drought advisory. A third of Missouri is in the abnormally dry category. That includes Jasper, Newton, and Berry counties. A Sunday evening, firefighters in Newton County battled a grass fire that spread to an RV and threatened a mobile home between Seneca and Neosho. No injuries were reported, and officials are still investigating what started the fire. Further east in Greene County, a baler and tractor caught fire on Saturday near Willard, Missouri. The fire burned part of the field, but fortunately no one was hurt. Firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze, which started on a dry field during worsening drought conditions across southwest Missouri. Well, Paul Prince of the Heartland had the fire department out yesterday, but it wasn't for a fire call. Instead, the firefighters posed with furry felines as a way to help adopt some of the adult cats. Adult cats often get overlooked, so this is a way to get attention for those older felines.
I hope the most they get out of it is to remember the cats in our community, which we have so many cats that are homeless, going without food and water, and we need to remember them, especially this time of year. Kittens, we have kittens galore.
If you can't adopt, Paw Prince says they are always expecting donations of kitty litter and food and, of course, volunteers. Let's look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. President Trump reveals he's working to set up direct talks between Ukraine and Russia. Plus, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and Kendrick Lamar lead the pack at the 2025 VMAs. An extreme heat advisory with potential rain chances. Chris has a check of your morning forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning, the White House is working on next steps to end the Russia-Ukraine war after Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky and 7 European leaders met with President Trump yesterday. The president said he spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin by phone after the sit-down and that Putin expressed interest in meeting with Zelensky. Now, that's something the Ukrainian leader says he's also in favor of. CBS News' Jared Hill has more on the latest discussions and what could come next.
An optimistic President Trump.
I have a feeling you and President Putin are going to work something out.
After hours of talks between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and a host of European leaders at the White House Monday, seeking an end to Russia's war.
Everybody around this table is in favor of peace.
Now, President Trump says he's working to set up direct talks with the leaders of Ukraine and Russia, one of a handful of results from yesterday's historic summit. The group also discussed Russia returning Ukrainian children and guarantees to protect Ukraine after an eventual end to the war.
Ukraine will never stop on the way to peace.
Part of those security guarantees could mean putting peacekeeping troops on the ground in Ukraine. President Trump later indicated that European allies would take the lead in coordination with the U.S. Then this hot mic moment, with President Trump suggesting President Putin might make peace a personal favor for him.
I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand? I think as crazy as it sounds.
Amid peace talks in Washington, Russia continued its deadly attacks in Ukraine. President Trump again dismissed the need for a ceasefire before future meetings, despite insistence from European leaders.
I can't imagine that the next meeting would take place without a ceasefire.
We can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting.
The president says he wants to join Putin and Zelensky after the two leaders speak face to face. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, one issue still left to be hashed out is what to do about Ukrainian territory that is now under Russian control. Zelensky yesterday said he believes that should be left up to him and Putin to resolve. Well, still to come, new research reveals an unexpected benefit of hearing aids, plus extreme heat and rain chances. Chris has another look at your Tuesday forecast. Well, the VMAs are back with a star-studded lineup, and spine-tingling new horror trailers are creeping onto screens. Nick Zajabic has your eye on entertainment.
The countdown is on. We're getting our first look at the performers to light up the 2025 MTV VMAs. Hitting the stage, Sabrina Carpenter, Ricky Martin, Busta Rhymes, J Balvin, and plenty more. Grammy winner, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and hip-hop legend LL Cool J is set to host. And with heavyweights like Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and Kendrick Lamar leading the nominations, this year's VMAs promise a night that won't disappoint. Catch it all September 7th on CBS, MTV, and streaming on Paramount+. When dark forces threaten to claim his owner, it's up to man's best friend to take on pure evil. This haunted house thriller, directed by Ben Leonberg, unfolds entirely from a dog's point of view. Good Boy hits theaters Friday, October 3rd.
When you hear a sound, you become its home.
The new horror film Rabbit Trap proves sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you see, but what you hear.
What is this? Sounds like a spell.
Set in 1970s Wales, Dev Patel stars as Darcy, a musician who retreats with his wife to a remote cabin to finish their album. But when his recordings pick up more than music, the couple stumbles into a world of Celtic folklore and straight into a nightmare. Rabbit Trap, produced by Elijah Wood, creeps into theaters September 12th. That's your eye on entertainment. Nick Zechevich, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, looks like some interesting films there. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got thunderstorms out there this morning across parts of southeast Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma. Some of them have been a bit on the strong side. We'll have another look at our thunderstorm chances this morning, what we're expecting this afternoon, and talk about our dangerous heat when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now is 5:18. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We're going to start with a quick traffic alert for drivers this morning on Rangeline. Crews are still working at that intersection at 15th and Rangeline. And as you can see, the north and southbound outside lanes on Rangeline at 15th Street are closed. When this happened a few days ago, there was quite a bit of congestion out there. So if you're commuting on Rangeline this morning, north or southbound, do keep that in mind as you get your day started. Be prepared for some delays. All right, Skywatch Storm Tracker. Within what the radar here can see, which the count is, at least for right now, going to also include some activity that's up north of Kansas City. We've got 567 lightning strikes. So while we do not have any severe weather out there right now, we do have some very electrical storms. We're going to start up here around the Coffee County area. So northeast of Burlington and north of Burlington, you can see we've got a pretty potent thunderstorm here. Again, not strong or severe, but a lot of lightning. It's 140 strikes with that. And it's really picked up here in the last 20 minutes or so. Got 40 strikes with this activity. So right now, the big story with these storms is going to be the heavy rain and the lightning lightning that's developing with this as well. Back into Greenwood County, around the Janesville and Eureka area, not as much lightning, but still 34 strikes out there this morning. I know a lot of folks getting ready for work, getting ready for school, so you got to take this lightning seriously. We do have some thunderstorms just south of Coffeyville, slowly reaching into parts of Montgomery County up toward Independence, and then some heavier thunderstorms. These have gone back with what they call a significant weather advisory. These storms are strong. They're moving now northwest at 5 miles an hour. There's a turnaround out there with winds, gusty winds up to 40 and maybe some penny-sized hail, but also, again, a lot of lightning out here. This activity, 182 lightning strikes within this alone. And again, like I said, from the radar perspective here, it was picking up some fairly large hail, but again, not really necessarily reaching the ground. We're about half-inch size hail right now with this activity out there. So again, we're continuing to monitor these storms. Again, the one computer model yesterday that said storms were going to happen, it was right. It sometimes happens that way. It was right. We're also seeing some new development that's trying to take place here around Lynn County. And you can see we had a boundary that's triggered all of this activity, and it's developing now back into parts of north central Oklahoma. It was trying to move southeast with this boundary pushing it, but now it's beginning to turn back around. So we'll see how far east this morning activity can make it. But we're expecting at least some of those scattered storms across southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through the morning. Then later today, we have a level 1 out of 5 risk for some strong to low-grade severe storms with gusty winds across the entire region. So we're talking winds 60 miles an hour with some of this activity. So Future Track thinks that these storms will wrap up here in the next few hours. Just for safety's sake, we're going to leave some isolated storm chances on as we head through the morning into the afternoon. Then as we go later into the afternoon, after about 4, we start to see new thunderstorm development out there, and this is where our window for some strong to severe storms will be as we go through the evening, late evening, overnight. So here we are tomorrow at 1 a.m. We've got another thunderstorm complex, and then it pushes through, clears on out, and leaves us just with some pop-up storm chances on our Wednesday. Heat index values today, again, up to 105, maybe a little higher in some cases. Still up there, about 100 for most of us, maybe a little hotter down in parts of Oklahoma. And then by Thursday, like I said, as our temperatures begin to drop, still muggy, but not as bad. Heat index values to about 100. That's why we do have heat advisory still in effect until 8 this evening. These were reissued. Again, no big surprise there. And of course, our extreme heat safety tips, KOAMnewsnow.com/forecast. So again, I'm leaving isolated storm chances up there just to be safe with those storms out to the west. Near 80 by 8, near 90 by 11 o'clock this morning. Got another hot day today, mid-upper 90s out there. Heat index values again to 105. Pop-up storms tomorrow, a little closer to normal. Temperatures balancing out near average and maybe even a little below average next week with some additional pop-up storm chances this weekend and by the start of next week. We'll, of course, continue to monitor those storms out west. If any of them do intensify, we will certainly let you know. For now, we're going to send it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, heat waves can make the damaging health effects of air pollution even worse. Texas A&M study measured air samples for pollutants and found during heat waves, trees released emissions, which when mixed with air pollution and solar radiation can become harmful. Researchers recommend staying indoors and avoiding major roadways during peak sunlight hours during extreme temperatures. And people with hearing loss who use hearing aids have a significantly lower risk of dementia. A study published in JAMA found among hearing loss patients under 70, those who used hearing aids had a 61% lower risk of being diagnosed with dementia. Now, it's believed that untreated hearing loss forces the brain to work harder to hear and leads to social isolation, both of which increase the risk of dementia. And approval over the over-the-counter birth control pill has led to improved access to contraception. An Oregon Health and Science University study found in the 2 years since the FDA approved the pill, there's been a 31% increase in people using it among those who previously weren't using any contraceptives. The study's authors say this is especially beneficial for Americans with limited access to health care, including minority groups and people from low-income and rural communities. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, Missouri Southern State University rolls out the red carpet for students.
And we've got some scattered thunderstorms out there this morning, some of them a bit on the strong side. We'll talk about our morning storms, our afternoon storms, and of course the dangerous heat coming up.
Plus, the Gorillas are back in action at Pittsburgh State University. How students are kicking off their new semester on campus.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Tuesday, August the 19th, and got those scattered storms out there. We talked about them yesterday. And I mentioned it was a possibility, and it turns out it was the right possibility.
Sure was,
we have some of them out there. We're going to start, though, the live look outside downtown Pittsburgh. We've got it pointed back roughly south there. See, that's what we've been watching. These storms, while right now none of them are severe, we do have a couple of stronger storms, and they are very electrical storms that you can see even from downtown Pittsburgh. We're talking right now from that camera's location. I'm kind of curious about this, and I'm sure some of you are as well. But from there to the nearest lightning is almost 60 miles difference. So that's how high up these storms are reaching. That's how high we can see them. We also have a traffic alert this morning for drivers. It's a little grainy here right now, but this is MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line, north and southbound. The outside lanes right now are closed at 15th Street. They're continuing to work on that intersection project, something, again, that's been long overdue. Great to see it getting done, but do be prepared for some possible delays out there this morning as traffic will be reduced to one lane in both directions right there at the intersection. Here's Skywatch Storm Tracker. 405 lightning strikes in our immediate area out there. And then take a look at this one. All by itself out here north of Cedarvale. So that's what we talk about too. Lightning can strike 10 to 20 miles from the parent thunderstorm. We have seen on occasion it reach upwards of 50 miles away, and we're presuming that the nearest storm here is the one by Arkansas City. So that's about 22 miles. So that's why, when thunder roars, head indoors. That's why we say it, because you can have lightning strikes that far out. All right, we're going to start quickly here into Washington County, where, again, right now, we do have a strong thunderstorm with some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. We've been watching the hail in these storms this morning. Again, the radar angle makes some of it seem a little bigger than what it may actually be in terms of what's reaching the surface. But we're looking at about half-inch size hail, and, again, a lot of lightning, so you got to play it safe. South of Coffeyville as well, around Edna, we've got these thunderstorms. And then as we head north into parts of Greenwood County, more thunderstorms around Eureka and Janesville, south of Madison, and then up to the north of Burlington. A fair amount of lightning with this storm. It's really picked up just in this storm alone. In fact, the strikes there, 133 with that one particular storm. And then we've got some additional development trying to take place here around Linn County, just to the west of Mound City. All of these storms, the one thing Future Track also got right yesterday, at least that one computer model got right, is they're starting to turn back west. They were being pushed a little southeast by a boundary here, and that's actually what's triggering storms all the way back through Oklahoma, but they are now beginning to rotate back southwest across the area. But we could still get, in fact, looking at maybe some showers here in Crawford County, could still get some additional development. We also have heat advisories again in place through 8 o'clock this evening. They were reissued yesterday afternoon. Not surprised about that with our heat index values. We also have a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong to low grade severe thunderstorms this afternoon, evening, and overnight as well, with winds to 60 miles an hour as the primary concern. So while Future Track is not showing rain by noon, I'm going to leave some isolated storm chances out there because I think some of these might try and hang on through the morning hours into Kansas and Oklahoma. And then later this afternoon after 3, we get new development of scattered showers and storms, and some of those, again, could be strong to low-grade severe. A lot to discuss this morning. I'm so sorry. I know it's taken a while, but there's just a lot going on today. 76 in Joplin, 74 in Pittsburgh. Quick look at temperatures around the region. Look at Iola sitting at 78, well above normal. Some of us a little cooler. Jay, the cooler spot there with Monette at 72. Most of us in the mid-70s. Kids getting on the bus. Again, some isolated storms out there, mid-70s. Same for recess and lunchtime, low 90s, mid-90s when that bus brings them back home, and gradually increasing storm chances. So again, leaving those out there. They may be very isolated through the morning, but we're going to leave those chances. Mid-80s by 9, low 90s by noon, mid-90s for our highs. And again, heat index values today up to 105. We're going to talk talk more about the thunderstorm chances that we have later this evening and overnight, and about how much cooler temperatures are expected to get here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks. Well, for thousands of area families, summer vacation is officially over. It's back to school time around the 4 states. We begin our coverage at Missouri Southern State University, where many students attended their first day of class. Faculty and staff rolled out a warm greeting with the free lunch, games, and more.
Felt like a really long summer where we didn't have anybody here, just barely seeing any students. So just getting to see them all back on campus and just get back into the swing of things is what's the most exciting.
It's been better than I expected. I was a little nervous this morning, but it was good.
Although a lot of students seem to enjoy outdoor activities, some opted to eat indoors just to stay cool. And Pittsburgh State University is also welcoming students back to campus yesterday. The Gorillas kicked off a new semester with classes. Now for freshmen, it's their first real taste of college life. For returning students, it's a chance to get back into the swing of things and reconnect on campus.
Expectation for the student body is just to have lots of fun, to win our football games, and to just grow in community with each other.
Now, students also attended a number of first day festivities around the campus. Northeastern Oklahoma students got the opportunity to meet the school's president on their first day of class yesterday. The president says enrollment is up this year. Now, we caught up with both the president and students to hear their thoughts and hopes as a new academic year begins.
Students choose NEO because of the connectedness across campus, our faculty and staff that truly care about our students, not only in the classroom but outside of the classroom. That's going to be a focal area this year.
I really like their athletic training program and the way that they help out the kids and reach out to them and stuff.
Now, one of the things NEO says they are proud of is their esports department, as they have recently ranked nationally. Well, the school season for Joplin High School gets started with a round of applause. The applause came for Holly Just, the Joplin High School assistant principal, who was just named the Southwest Missouri Assistant Principal of the Year. The honor came from the Missouri Association of Secondary School Principals. Now, judging from the applause, the honor was well deserved. And the Ottawa County, Oklahoma Sheriff's Department hopes to use a $250,000 grant to make improvements to the agency. The Funding Assistance Grant is a program through the State Attorney General's office. Last week, the Ottawa County Commission voted to approve the Sheriff's Office plans for the grant funds. Sheriff David Dean says the agency plans to use the money to replace aging patrol vehicles, have department issues firearms, and to install 3 license plate readers.
It's absolutely amazing, because without it we wouldn't be able to buy what we're buying, because our budget is low. The only thing we can't use this money for is salaries. So any equipment, anything that's broke that we need fixed, we can use it for.
Now, Sheriff says this is a grant the department hopes to receive every year. Funds from last year were used to purchase things like department stipends and ATVs for responding in more rural parts of the county. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOA Morning News. A major cable news network is getting a complete makeover. Plus, the NFL is stepping into new territory with an unexpected partnership. The surprising collaboration that gives fans a whole new way to show team spirit. We'll have the latest. Time now, 5:38. You're watching the KOA Morning News. Well, in Consumer Watch, wages in the U.S. are lagging behind inflation, according to a new report. Wages in the U.S. are lagging behind. Bank Rate's 2025 wage to inflation index found that Americans earn 1.2 percentage points below the rise of the cost of living over the past 4 years on average. According to the study, workers in education have been hit the hardest with a 4.8 wage to inflation gap. Well, MSNBC is getting a name change and a new look. The network is rebranding to MS Now, which stands for My Source News Opinion World, according to the company. Now, and it'll also lose NBC's Peacock logo. NBC Universal announced last year that it would spin off MSNBC and other networks like CNBC and USA Network to a new business called Versant. And the National Football League is expanding its shoe game just as the new season is about to kick off. The league huddled with Crocs on a multi-year deal for NFL-themed clogs and charms known as gibbets, giving fans another way to show love to their favorite team. The NFL Crocs collection is available starting September 18th. That's a look at Consumer Watch. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are still dealing with some scattered storms out there in parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and they are trying to intensify. Nothing severe at this point, but something we're still keeping a close eye on. We'll have a look at those storms this morning, our storms this afternoon, and our dangerous heat when we come back. Time now, 5.
The world's largest ag manufacturer is cutting more jobs. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griss with today's Ag Day Minute. News broke late last week about John Deere announcing another round of layoffs. Now you'll see the affected plants on your screen. Harvester Works in East Moline, Illinois, laying off 115. 52 jobs are impacted at the seeding and cylinder plant in Moline, and the John Deere foundry in Waterloo will lose 71 jobs. The company saying in a statement that the struggling ag economy continues to impact orders, adding that this is a challenging time for many farmers, growers, and producers and directly impacts the business in the near term. Astronauts on board the International Space Station are becoming farmers on a small scale. They're planting seeds of wasabi mustard greens, red Russian kale, or dragoon lettuce. They put the seeds into a fabric or seed pillows that have a special clay and controlled release fertilizer. Crew members then monitor the plants, adding water as needed and keep track of growth. At harvest time, they get to eat what they've grown while freezing other samples to return to Earth. And day one of the annual Pro Farmer Crop Tour is underway. In total, the tour will travel through 7 Midwest states, checking corn and soybean yields. And each night, we'll bring you the results of what scouts have found. Join us tonight for Crop Tour Live for results from Ohio and South Dakota at 8 o'clock Central Time at agweb.com. For more ag news, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agweb.com.
All right, let's take it over now to Chris for a full look at your forecast.
Yeah, and we are actually going to start this morning with a traffic alert for travelers on Rangeline. If you are heading north or southbound, they are doing the work at that intersection at 15th Street. And at this time, the outside northbound and southbound lanes are closed at the intersection. So just make sure you plan accordingly. They had to close the northbound right-hand lane a few days ago, and traffic at lunchtime was really backed up. So make sure you do plan accordingly today for your commute, and make sure you're planning also to play it safe with all this lightning. In our area alone, the storms we have, 392 lightning strikes with this activity. Very electrical. We're going to start up here again into Coffee County with this storm. It is not actually... Let me double check on that for you. But right now, it is producing quite a bit of lightning with that storm. And at this time, it is not listed as strong or severe, but you can see some of those purples back behind the lightning out here. And so we are starting to get some small hail with at least parts of this storm, but nothing that's quite severe yet. But the lightning, again, just absolutely incredible with this activity there near Burlington. We have some thunderstorms around Janesville and south of Eureka, north of Twain Grove. And then we head further south. We've got some scattered storms around Independence, Coffeyville, Sedan, and Caney. And then we have this strong storm still sitting over Washington County with now up to 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this, and still penny-sized hail. And we have new development that's taking place to the east, so east of Edna, around Bartlett, Kansas, and Chautauqua, west of Chautauqua. We have some new storms developing there as well. The activity is very slowly trying to drift off to the west-southwest at this point, but you can see we're also trying to get new development that's taking place out there, this building back east as this rolls rolls back to the west. So we'll, of course, continue to monitor that. If any of those storms do become severe, we will certainly let you know. Later today, though, we have a level 1 out of 5 risk across the entire region for damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour because we're expecting more thunderstorm development later today. Now, future track. This is where it gets interesting. We talked yesterday. We had just that one computer model that showed the storms this morning. It was right, wasn't it? All the others said, no, it's not going to rain. They were wrong. That happens occasionally. Right now, it is showing no rain through the morning, late morning, and early afternoon hours. I'm going to leave rain chances up there because we'll see how those storms in southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma behave. But I think we might still have a few lingering isolated storms through the morning into the afternoon. Now, once we get past about 3 o'clock or so, we're going to see new thunderstorm development taking place. And as this gets going, some of these could be strong to low-grade severe. So here we are at 9. We've got some around I-44 just south of it, near Stockton, up toward Yates Center. And the future track also believes we might get a thunderstorm complex that'll develop out of north central Kansas and slide southeast across the area overnight tonight. So here we are at 1 a.m. Pittsburgh, Joplin, Miami, Anderson Grove, more thunderstorms, and again, some of those could be strong to low-grade severe with damaging wind gusts as the primary concern with that activity. That clears out pretty quick, though. By about 3 a.m. or so, it should be done, and then for Wednesday, we're just going to be left with the opportunity into the afternoon for some isolated pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Not looking anything too widespread at this point, but some additional pop-up storms possible. Our heat index values today, once again, 105, maybe a bit higher out there for some of us. And then tomorrow, still a bit on the muggy side. We're still looking at heat index values reaching about 100 degrees. And again, northeast Oklahoma, maybe a little higher. But by Thursday, our temperatures will drop, our heat index values will drop a bit, but we're still going to be very muggy. And so that's still going to lead to those higher heat index values around the mid, maybe even some upper 90s. We do, as such, have heat advisories that were reissued that will go through 8 this evening. We talked about it yesterday. Not surprised they were reissued, but they will run through 8 this evening. But again, even if you're not under one, it doesn't mean that the heat's any safer. And of course, we've got our extreme heat safety tips, KOAMnewsnow.com/forecast. All right, so again, through the morning, leaving those isolated storm chances out there for right now, because I do think that some of those storms might try and hang on a little bit longer than what Future Track thinks. Near 80 by 8, near 90 by 11 o'clock this morning, ultimately looking at highs today into the mid to upper 90s again. But then we start our cooling trend. Our lows begin to fall. Our temperatures begin to fall. Low 90s heading into the weekend. Pop-up storm chances again this weekend into the start of next week. And take a look. If this holds, and I certainly hope it does, look at our temperatures by the second half of next week. Low 80s with lows getting close to the upper 50s out there. So again, a short heat wave that we've been through, almost done, and then we'll get some relief out there. And of course, we'll continue to monitor these storms this morning. If any of them intensify, we will certainly let you know. For now, we're going to send it over now to Elise with sports.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, last fall, Pittsburgh State added a new women's sports for the first time in nearly 30 years with the women's soccer program taking center stage. On their first season of competition, the Gorillas finished with a .500 record. That early success as a program was the cherry on top for Pitt State, who entered 2024 with an emphasis on creating a strong foundation and culture.
The word I've used a lot is a whirlwind, because it was just a lot of stuff going on at the same time, like building a team, building the culture, all those things. But the group the first year did a great job of laying a foundation for what this program's capable of.
We didn't know necessarily what was going to happen with 37 new girls coming in and all of us from all different places, all different backgrounds, kind of just coming together. Honestly, we couldn't have asked for a better season with everything going on. The energy and our chemistry clicked right away, surprisingly. And it's, like I said, it's very hard to get that with that many girls being involved. But it was overall a very good season, a lot of effort, a lot of grit, and overall couldn't ask for anything better.
That's a look at sports this morning. We'll be right back. Well, 2 clouded leopard cubs named Joker and Quinn are settling into their new home at the Nashville Zoo. The 11-month-old siblings, named after Batman characters, were seen playing in their enclosure as part of an effort to protect the vulnerable species. Zoo officials say both cubs will eventually be paired with other leopards to support conservation breeding. Well, a Coast Guard helicopter crew rescued 4 people stranded on a rock in Lake County, Minnesota after hazardous conditions made it too dangerous to disembark. An MH-60 Jayhawk was dispatched from sector northern Great Lakes around 9 p.m. Petty Officer 3rd Class Lorenzo Giambanco, on his first rescue mission, helped hoist the group to safety and transport them to waiting EMS and family members.
And we've got some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. Been watching the lightning off in the distance. Nothing severe at this time, but very electrical storms across the area. So you need to make sure that you are prepared for that because the lightning still dangerous, still deadly, as we've talked about before, whether the storm is severe or not. And remember also, when thunder roars, head indoors. We saw a strike earlier this morning that was almost 25 miles rather away from the parent storm. We have occasionally seen lightning strikes upwards of 50 miles away from the parent storm, so just be cautious out there this morning. We're going to start near 80, be near 90 by 11. Some data suggests these storms that are out there now will be gone as we head through the morning, but we're going to leave some slight rain chances out there just in case we do get some additional pop-up storms or if these ones hold on a little longer. All right, mid-90s today. More thunderstorms, though, after 3 o'clock. Some of those could be strong, low-grade severe with gusty winds is the primary concern. And we'll have scattered storms continuing through the evening into the overnight hours. We'll be back down to about 70 with calm winds, at least calm non-thunderstorm winds. Low 90s tomorrow, a few isolated storms out there. Temperatures much more seasonable heading into the weekend hours. And as we go into next week, temperatures may even drop quite a bit below normal. Could see some low 80s. Let's check your forecast. We've got another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.